Hello friends, guess what? We're here for another live stream. And today we're going to be talking about what to do with your indoor garden once it's out of season. Which is officially already now. If you haven't started already, you're probably in trouble. But if you're a little bit late, well, let's hook you up and get you ready to go. So, yeah, basically, it's just battening down the hatches and getting ready to rock is all that's happening here. You know what I'm talking about? Hi. When it comes to dealing with your indoor garden and out of season, there's a couple things you can do to keep them growing off season. But other than that, if you're not too worried about that, the main things to look at are what herbs do you want to try and go perennial with, because there's a lot of herbs that can do that, even if they aren't necessarily supposed to sometimes. Some can be a little bit more haphazard with that, but you know, figuring out which ones you're going to keep or which ones you're just going to completely get rid of and start again next year. And then figuring out with the what to do with the ones that you're going to keep. So now that you're keeping them, okay, what are the things you do to keep them working well over the off season? And then other than that, it's pretty simple. Like I said, I'll probably think of some things as we go along here, but I didn't game plan too well for today, so I was thinking of another live stream that I'm going to do next. And so yeah, let's just rock this and see what we got. So first things first, you have lots of different perennial herbs, which is like the lavender, that can go from year to year. You also have other ones like chamomile. It can go year to year. Another great one is thyme. Thyme can also go from year to year. In fact, when it comes down to it, most of the Mediterranean herbs are perennials, with the exception of like basil. But even that, with certain varietals, you can manage to get to overwinter. It generally doesn't do as well unless you give it a lot of help. And so let's talk really quick about the things that you can give help to. So first and foremost, the only things you can really do to keep a herb growing over winter is to make it think it's not so much winter, which means you have to still give it the heat and keep it in a really warm place, which either means a quality greenhouse or a room, obviously inside you generally have good temperatures that you're not going to have to worry about. But then beyond that, of course, you have to give it light, because the light is much lower during this time of year. As you can see, that's why I'm in darkness. Ooh. That, and I don't want you to see the messy back of the room here. But the main things you're looking at are having to give it like a grow light, right? So you can do it with just some various fluorescent lights. I mean, not standard fluorescence, but just any kind of standard UV light, or lots of regular lights will actually work. But if you want to be sure, get a good full spectrum grow light, and that will cover you. You know, if you're unsure as to whether or not it will, you know, the lights that you have will work. And more often than not, you know, it can be suspect. So it's just putting your standard table lamp on it is a possibility. When you anyways, whatever you're going to do with the light that you're putting on it, you want it to have within a certain range, which means like 2 feet to 1 foot. And if you're 1 foot away from it, you don't want to get too close, because if it's a lamp, especially that warms up, that can be more detrimental if you're overheating it, right? Okay, so once you have the heat and the light, it's also making sure that you're keeping it well seasoned. You might want to cycle some of the soil out to keep it happy. What I'm going to be talking about next week is rainwater, which is a fantastic thing to help keep the plant happy, or just keep lots of fertilizer going with it as well. Those all the basic things you would normally do with your soil, right? But the main things to keep things going in the off season is that don't be afraid if it looks like it's almost dead, especially if it's something like mint. My big friend Mint, I tell you what, it is amazing just how resilient mint is. And when it comes, I have a chocolate mint outside that I've overwintered for several years now. I think it's like 5 years old. And there's been a couple of years where I'm like going, it's gone. There's nothing left. Is it going to live? And whenever you have that, don't presume it's dead, especially when you're talking about mint. You can cut peppermint, spearmint, chocolate mint, any of the mint varietals all the way back. I mean, so it looks like there is nothing left there. I do the same thing with my platycoat on my balloon flower. And believe me, next season it will come back. It's just storing that energy, kind of like I do with the anthuriums, that you're basically are just putting it in a stasis state where it's just storing its energy and getting ready for the weather to come back to where it needs to be. So that's really the important thing is just letting your plant know, oh, it's okay to just chill out for a couple months until the weather comes back to a place where it can start growing again. Like I said, other ones, there are lots of different ones that are perennials that you can do, and any of the woody herbs are generally perennials. Like I said, most of the Mediterranean ones, which is the rosemary, the thyme, even the lavender, obviously, especially here in Britain, is very much perennial. And outside, a lot of people don't even cut their lavender back, and it still keeps coming back. So it is very resilient once it gets to a certain stage. I mean, if you're just starting a lavender out, I have one inside I put in I did a video on it a while back. That's in a special little terrarium. That's the word. There, I knew it'd come eventually. But yeah, it's in a terrarium. And it's doing fantastic. I should have taken a shot of it for you so you could see it. But it looks wonderful. And I have no doubts that it's going to last and just keep on going. What I do need to do is, a good thing that you can do when it's during the off season is do your repotting. So if you have an herb that you want to go for the next year, you can either upsize the pot to make it, if you want to make it bigger, or just change some of the dirt out for new dirt, because it's always the problem that some people forget is that the soil is the life, besides the water you're putting into it. And so if the soil's a bit old or it's overloaded with lots of roots, then yeah, you have to go and get some new soil in there for it to have some extra nutrients. So yeah, keep that in mind as well. All right. Have I covered everything? You guys have to let me know in the comments if I'm missing anything here, because it's really pretty simple when it comes down to it. The main thing is just don't panic, and feel free to cut all the herbs as far back as you want. My oregano is another one that's an interesting case because it's a couple years old now, and the same thing. I had not cut it back, and then it started wilting, of course, as the weather changed. And started looking really ugly, and then I was like going, oh, should I just toss it? And sure enough, it came back, and right now it looks fantastic. I mean, the leaves on there, I'm like, I can pluck them and eat them right now. They're still in really good shape. But that is something you want to consider, is like, while they're still good, and before it gets super duper cold and the light completely disappears, harvest as much as you can, and otherwise it's just going to go bad and disappear. So I the same thing with all my mints that I have. I've been doing tons of harvesting on them because once the winter season starts, especially the ones I just have in the backyard, they're gonna the leaves are gonna go bad, and they're not gonna be as edible anymore. So yeah, well, that's a good thing to do when you're getting ready to winterize everything, is just harvest it back, let it chill, let it get ready for the next season, and everything will be fine. The other thing I was wanting to talk about today is I have a new feature on my channel. Yay! New feature! And that is this. I now have memberships available on my channel. So if you are wanting to support my channel, if you want, just watch tons of videos, put them on the background and let them play, and occasionally hit the like button. You could do that and support me that way. But if you want to, help me keep this channel really rocking, then I've set up a little membership deal where you can, give me a wee bit of financial joy here, and a couple different levels set up for it, where you can choose your own topic that you want me to cover for coming up, whether a history, mythology, or benefits video. I'm happy to cover. You got some custom perks, some badges and emojis and various features depending on the level as well. So yeah, I'm excited to have this on here just so you know it's there. Like I said, if when it comes down to it, I am perfectly happy if you just support my channel by going and doing nothing but watching tons of my videos, okay? But if you have the means and you love what I do, then please, give me a little membership love or a little bit of thanks button love, and I would really appreciate that. Otherwise, if you guys think I missed anything, let me know in the comments down below. This was just a real simple live stream today, apparently. Oh, 10 minutes. Look at that. Boom. Done. We're out of here. You guys have a good day. We'll see you later.